Meditation and Neuroscience of Mindfulness, a workshop by Badri Narayan, Principal, Monares Consulting, LLC. This workshop provides a holistic understanding of meditation and mindfulness and the neuroscientific evidence of its inner workings. It consists of 4 parts: knowledge, preparation, philosophy, and practice. The knowledge section provides an understanding of neuroscientific evidence on mindfulness, meditation, and rewiring of the brain, and an overview of pranayama, a breathing-focused yoga. The preparation part consists of how to prepare ourselves through pranayama techniques to cleanse our body, mind, and intellect, and tune up for meditation. The philosophy and foundation section deals with the foundation of meditation and provides answers to questions like what and why. Practice consists of when and how to meditate, including techniques and guidance, and a walkthrough of guided meditation.
My name is Badri Narayan. I am a student and teacher of meditation and have been practicing meditation and mindfulness for over 15 years. I am also a global human resources practitioner with over 2 decades of senior management experience at Fortune 500 companies that include Procter & Gamble, Levi Strauss, Volvo Car, and Lafarge Holcim. What led me to a life of mindfulness? I experienced the loss of 3 people close to me, 2 of my brothers and my brother-in-law, over a 5-year period about 15 years ago, which shook my foundation and navigated me to contemplative practices. I learned to meditate with assistance from several teachers, some of whom with spiritual background, others with scientific background. I have also been a voracious consumer of books and workshops on Buddhism and Hindu meditative practices, in addition to empirical neuroscientific research.
Scientists used to believe that we are born with certain traits that are hardwired into our brain for life, and that our personality develops as we age. However, recent research has shown that our brains can be rewired in several ways, one of which is the practice of meditation and mindfulness. I am going to use the contemplative neuroscience research of Dr. Richard Davidson of the University of Wisconsin-Madison as the basis of the empirical research. Some of the key learnings from this research are: the brain is neoplastic. It can be changed in form and function. Mental training can induce lasting changes in the brain that transform our cognitive and emotional configurations. Neural-inspired behavioral interventions can produce specific and localized changes in the brain. Therefore, changes can be made through our inner mental activity of meditation. When we learn a new language or how to play a new instrument, new pathways are created in our brain, changing its form and function, with neurons firing together. Similarly, the practice of meditation is found to change the neural pathways and networks, rewiring our brains and improving our responses to external stimulus and anchoring us. From a vocabulary standpoint, I will be using mindfulness and meditation interchangeably for the purpose of this workshop. I'm going to introduce a couple of topics on the brain related to problem solving and emotions. The goal is not to make you into a neuroscientist, but to share some basic information about the brain and its structure and functions relating to emotions. 2 aspects of the brain that have been researched are the prefrontal cortex, or PFC, and the limbic system. The PFC is known as the executive center of our brain, or the planner, also known as the king or queen of cognition. However, with current research and tools like functional magnetic resolution imaging, or fMRI, we now know that the prefrontal cortex is also critical to emotion. The limbic system includes the amygdala, thalamus, and hippocampus, which was long thought to be the brain's seat of emotions. Specific emotions reflect measurable biological activity in the cortex and the limbic system. In his book, The Emotional Life of the Brain, Dr. Richie Davidson describes 6 emotional styles that have specific identifiable neural signatures in the brain. They are resilience, outlook, social intuition, self-awareness, sensitivity to context, and attention. These 6 dimensions reflect the discoveries of modern neuroscientific research. Emotional style is a consistent way of responding to the experiences of our lives. It is governed by specific, identifiable brain circuits and can be measured using objective laboratory methods. Emotional style influences the likelihood of feeling particular emotions, traits, and moods. Because emotional styles are much closer to the underlying brain systems than emotional states or traits, they can be considered the atoms of our emotional lives. They are fundamental building blocks. Dr. Davidson was looking at why some people are more resilient than others in the face of adversity. Is resilience something we can gain through practice? In fact, can any and/or all of the emotional styles described above be developed or changed through contemplative practices like meditation and mindfulness? The Dalai Lama, who Dr. Davidson sought assistance for his research, asked Davidson the following question: "You've been using the tools of modern neuroscience to study depression and anxiety and fear. Why can't you use those same tools to study empathy, kindness, and compassion?" The Dalai Lama was interested in what the tools of modern neuroscience could reveal about the brains of people who spent years cultivating qualities of mind which promote a positive outlook. As a result, Davidson brought a series of Buddhist monks into his lab and strapped electrodes to their heads and treated them to hours of research on fMRI. He also conducted research on novice meditators like us who were given basic training in mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, which culminated in some of his major findings in the contemplative neuroscience. I want to quickly describe these emotional styles in an understandable language. Resilience is responding to adversity with energy and determination, or how slowly or quickly we can recover from adversity. Outlook is responding to situations with a positive disposition, or with pessimism, how long we are able to sustain positive emotions. Social intuition is the ability to read people, like body language or tone of voice, how adept we are at picking up social signals from the people around us. Self-awareness is how well we perceive bodily feelings that reflect emotions, self-aware or self-opaque. Sensitivity to context is how good we are at regulating our emotional responses to take into account the context we find ourselves in, tuned in or tuned out. Attention is how sharp and clear our focus is, focused or unfocused. Emotional style is the product of brain function, connections, circuits, structural and functional relationships, and neurochemistry. Each dimension of emotional style is grounded in a particular pattern of brain activity. They reflect measurable biological activity in the cortex and the limbic system, as we discussed earlier. Our emotional style is laid down in our early years by the genes that we have inherited and by our experiences. However, they are not fixed forever and can be changed or transformed through willful mental activities or meditative practices. Let's look at the favorite example of how mere thoughts can change the brain in fundamental ways in an experiment called the virtual piano study. Scientists led by Alvaro Pascual-León of Harvard University had half a group of volunteers learn a simple 5-finger keyboard piece, practicing over and over for a week with their right hand. Then, they used neuroimaging to determine how much of the motor cortex was responsible for moving those fingers, and found that the intense practice had expanded the relevant region. This was unsurprising, since other experiments had found that learning specific movements can cause such an expansion. But the scientists had the other half of their group of volunteers only imagine playing the notes. They did not actually touch the ivories. The researchers then measured whether the motor cortex had noticed, It had. The region that controls the fingers of the right hand had expanded in the virtual penis just as it had in the volunteers who had actually played the piano. Mental activity alone had increased the amount of space the motor cortex devoted to a specific function. Through his years of research, including the fMRI test with the Buddhist monks, Dr. Davidson was able to prove that mental activity, ranging from meditation to mindfulness-based stress reduction, can alter the brain function in specific circuits, with the result that we can develop a broader awareness of social signals, a deeper sensitivity to our own feelings and bodily sensations, and a more consistently positive outlook. In short, through mental training, we can alter our patterns of brain activity and the very structure of our brain in a way that will change our emotional style and improve our life. This is the ultimate step in mind-body interaction. To illustrate one aspect of the emotional style change, the practice of mindfulness alters habits by making it more likely that one neural pathway rather than another is used. When we experience a setback, neural signals travel from the frontal cortex, which figures out the meaning of that experience, to the limbic system, where the amygdala attaches an intense negative emotional value to that experience. Mindfulness and meditation practice can either create a different neural pathway, or the same experience is processed by the frontal cortex, but the signals do not reach the amygdala. The result is when we experience a stressful experience or setback, it no longer triggers a feeling of anxiety, fear, or fatalistic capitulation. Therefore, the mental activities alone, such as meditation, mindfulness, visualization, etc., we can intentionally change our own brain. Let me summarize some of the key findings from Davidson's research. Meditation enhances the left prefrontal activation. This is a marker of the faster recover end of the resilience continuum and associated with greater resilience following a stressful challenge. Meditation improves selective attention and reduces the attentional blink, moving people toward the focused end of the attention continuum. In both cases, mindfulness strengthens prefrontal regulation of brain networks involved in attention, in part by strengthening the connections between the prefrontal cortex and other brain regions that are important for attention. Pranayama, a part of yoga, offers several key breathing postures and techniques that assist us in energizing the voluntary and involuntary organs of our body and mind. As we warm up when we start our physical workout in the gym, we can use some of the pranayama practices as kriyas, or workouts to prepare our body and mind for meditation. If you are a practitioner of pranayama, you may know that there are several breathing techniques, but the following two types of breathing are commonly used in the preparation and tune-up for meditation: Kapalbhati, or skull shining breath, and Nadi Sodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. Kapalbhati is one of the 6 kriyas, or the cleansing practices of Hatha Yoga, that assists in tuning our body and mind for meditation. Its benefits include clearing mucus-related obstructions and relieving the body of CO2, other volatile waste, along with any negative thoughts and feelings, and restores the balance. Let's watch the video produced by Yoga International with teacher Sandra Anderson demonstrating the correct way of practicing Kapalbhati. You can also review several videos on YouTube or learn this from a trained yoga teacher.
Today we're practicing Kapalabhati. Kapalabhati is a pranayama practice, but it's also one of the Shat Kriyas, one of the 6 cleansing practices of Hatha Yoga. Its benefits include clearing mucus-related obstructions and relieving the body of carbon dioxide and other volatile wastes. As for all pranayama, but particularly for vigorous practices like Kapalabhati and Bhastrika, a stable sitting posture is the essential first step. You may sit up straight on a chair or in any cross-legged pose on the floor. On the floor, make sure you prop the pelvis high enough to sit effortlessly upright with the inner thighs relaxed. In Kapalabhati, the exhalation is active and forceful, but the inhalation is passive and relaxed. The inhalation and exhalation are asymmetrical. The exhalation feels like a staccato note, and the inhalation comes in on the rebound from the exhalation. Therefore, it's important to quickly relax after the exhalation. A beginning practice looks like this. Note that the abdomen snaps sharply in on the exhalation and rebounds back out on the inhalation without any effort. Make sure the jaw, eyes, throat, chest, and shoulders stay completely still and relaxed. There should be no movement anywhere in the body except in the abdomen. If you find the chest heaving, it may help to bring the arms overhead with the hands to the opposite shoulders to isolate the movement in the navel center area. Let's try it together for 11 breaths at a pace of about 1 breath every couple of seconds. Don't be in a hurry. Now take a couple of resting breaths through both nostrils. And we'll do another round of 11 breaths. Finish by sitting quietly and allowing the breath to arise spontaneously in the body. Keep your focus on the inner sensations of the body and breath. If you feel dizzy or lightheaded or feel a stitch in your side or lose the rhythm of the breath, stop and rest for a few minutes. And next time, try fewer breaths or consult with a teacher to refine your technique. Kapalabhati might not be appropriate for those with heart disease, high blood pressure, or hernias. A daily beginning practice is 1 to 3 rounds of 7 to 11 breaths at 1 breath per second, like we just did, resting between rounds. Add 5 to 10 breaths per round each week to increase your capacity, and gradually pick up speed to about 2 breaths per second.
Nadi Shodhana is another one of the 6 kriyas or the cleansing practices of Hatha Yoga that assist in tuning our body and mind for meditation. Nadi Shodhana helps in balancing the prana and apana equilibrium and calm the chatter that goes on in our minds. Let's watch the video produced by The Art of Living. You can also review several videos on YouTube or learn this from a trained yoga teacher. Start practicing Nadi Shodhana with 9 full cycles for the first time. You can increase to 18 times gradually over a period of a month.
Welcome to our new Shri Shri Yoga session. Today we will learn the alternate nostril breathing technique, or the Nadi Shodhan Pranayam. Sit comfortably with your spine erect and shoulders relaxed. Place your left hand on your knee, palm open to the sky, and gently bring the tips of the index finger and thumb in contact with each other. With the right hand, control the flow of breath through the nostrils. Place the index and middle finger on your forehead between the eyebrows. Place the little finger and ring finger gently on the left nostril, placing the thumb on the right. Press your thumb down and breathe out gently through the left nostril. Then breathe in from the left nostril and breathe out from the right. Breathe in from the right nostril and exhale from the left. You have just completed one round of Nadi Shodhan Pranayam. Remember to breathe in from the same nostril from which you exhaled. It's important to take long, deep breaths in without forcing or putting effort, as if you were smelling the fragrance of a flower. Complete 9 such rounds. Keep your eyes closed and continue taking long, deep breaths. You can practice this breathing technique 2 to 3 times a day. Nadi Shodhan Pranayam pauses the chatter that goes on in the mind. Do a 10-minute meditation after doing this pranayam and keep this beautiful feeling of peace and calm with you through the day.
We have so far reviewed why we should meditate and the scientific foundation of the benefits of meditation. In order to practice meditation, we also need to understand what is meditation and its philosophy. The fundamental question that we need to address is, what is self and not self? Another way of exploring this is to ask, who am I? I'm going to be drawing heavily from Michael Singer's book, The Untethered Soul, an outstanding body of work that provides insights on the who am I question. For most of us, there is a constant noise that goes on inside our head. If you listen to this chatter, the voice takes both sides of the conversation. It doesn't care which side it takes, just as long as it gets to keep on talking. If we start observing this voice, the first thing we notice is that it never shuts up. If you watch carefully, you'll see that it's just trying to find a comfortable place to rest. It will change sides in a moment if that seems to help, and it doesn't even quiet down when it finds out that it's wrong. It simply adjusts its viewpoint and keeps on going. The best way to free ourselves from this incessant chatter is to step back and view it objectively. Just view the voice as a vocalizing mechanism that is capable of making it appear like someone is in there talking to you. Don't think about it, just notice it. The best way to free ourselves from this incessant chatter is to step back and view it objectively. The subject-object relationship. Seeing something requires a subject-object relationship. The subject is called the witness because it is the one who sees what's happening. The object is what you are seeing, in this case, the inner chatter. The only real meditation practice is to take the seat of witness consciousness and completely change our frame of reference. Getting back to the voice. The only way to get our distance from this voice is to stop differentiating what it's saying. If you're hearing it talk, it's obviously not you. You are the one who hears the voice. You are the one who notices it's talking. If you watch it objectively, you will come to see that much of what the voice says is meaningless. The truth is that most of life will unfold in accordance with forces far outside your control, regardless of what your mind says about it. This is done by constantly remembering that you are the one inside that notices the voice talking. That is the way out. The one inside who is aware that you are always talking to yourself about yourself is always silent. It is a doorway to the depths of your being. To be aware that you are watching the voice talk is to stand on the threshold of a fantastic inner journey. If used properly, the same mental voice that has been a source of worry, distraction, and general neurosis can become the launching ground for true spiritual awakening. Come to know the one who watches the voice, and you will come to know one of the great mysteries of creation, or, who am I? Inside out versus outside in. Body, mind, and intellect are instruments that perceive and experience the world outside of us. Inside out. Meditation shifts our focus to outside in, with the real self, peace, tranquility, and joy through contemplation, on who am I, and getting in touch with the true self. Getting back to the subject-object relationship and the voice inside us. We can easily generalize by saying, if you are the one who is looking at something, then that something is not you. So right away in one fell swoop, you know what you're not. You are not the outside world. You are the one who is inside looking out at that world. It starts to become a serious question. Who am I? Who is having all these physical, emotional, and mental experiences? So if we contemplate this question a little deeper, We will begin to notice who is experiencing the experience. Eventually, we will get to a point within ourselves where we realize that we, the experiencer, have a certain quality. And that quality is awareness, consciousness, and an intuitive sense of existence. We know that we are in there. We exist regardless, thoughts or no thoughts. True meditation is to get in touch with that self, subject, or the witness consciousness. When we contemplate the nature of self, we are meditating. It is the journey to the root of our being, the simple awareness of being aware. Once we become conscious of the consciousness itself, we graduate to a totally different state. We are now aware of who we are. We have become an awakened being. We will begin to have deep experiences within our own center of consciousness. These will be deep, intuitive experiences of the true nature of self. We will find that we are tremendously expansive. When we start to explore consciousness instead of form, we realize that our consciousness only appears to be small and limited because we are focusing on small and limited objects. For the deepest meditation, we must not only have the ability to focus our consciousness completely on one object, also known as one-pointedness of mind, we must also have the ability to make awareness itself be that object. Two essential conditions required for meditation: single-pointedness of mind, purity of mind. What is single-pointedness of mind? For us to get in touch with our true self, we need to be able to provide a path to our mind to be quiet and not distracted by thoughts, which are focused on desires, attachments, and outcomes that are external. What is purity of mind? This involves attending to bare facts of perception as presented either through the five physical senses, or thoughts without reacting to them by speech, deed, or by mental comment. This is achieved by non-judgmental observation of our thoughts and feelings, and freeing the mind of desires, attachments, and clinging. There are several steps to take while meditating. First is the act of becoming an inner witness, a neutral observer of the mind and seeing our inner experience directly but from a distance. Sakshi is the Sanskrit term for capacity of awareness to disengage from its identification with thoughts and observe them with its own eyes and remaining detached and steady in the process. The next step is gradually internalizing this experience in the form of a new spiritual vision.
Guided meditation practice instructions. I'm going to use the background music from an app called Dreamweaver by Deepak Chopra that provides soothing delta waves as I narrate the meditation practice. I personally find the background music very soothing and relaxing. This can be purchased for iPhone or Android phones, respectively in their apps. This is not a commercial endorsement. Choose a room or a place where you're not going to be disturbed for 30 minutes. I strongly suggest dimming the lights or turning them off. As I narrate towards the end, the music will stop and it will remain silent for at least 5 to 6 minutes. And then I'll conclude that with finishing thoughts. Sit straight on a steady base. You can either use a chair with a flat, hard surface or sit on the floor. Keep your head, back, neck and spine erect in a straight line. Hands interlocked in front of you. Close your eyes. Keep your body without moving like a statue. Do not move at all, whatever happens. Be thoroughly aware that you're not moving. Steady your body by watching your body as being steady. Relax every part of your body, bit by bit. Go through your entire body, suggesting it to relax. Let your knees be pulled by the ground and relax. Let your shoulders relax. Let your eyes relax. Relax as they are in your sleep. Now watch your steadiness of your body as though you are standing apart from your body as a witness. Picture it as a beautiful statue. Stand apart and witness this motionless, steady, and beautiful sculpture. For a practitioner of meditation, in the beginning stages, you're not supposed to stop your thoughts, but purify them. You have now quietened the mind by keeping the body steady and focusing on the steady body and awakening your inner witness. Let your inner witness watch your breath. Watch your air coming in and going out. Watch the air going through your nostrils, filling up your lungs. Vitalize your cells and the warm air leaving your nostrils. Continue feeling the touch of the breath while reciting in your mind the sound so as you inhale and the sound hum as you exhale. This mantra or the sound so hum is said to be the sound of breathing. Weave the mantra from one to the next, breathing at a speed that is comfortable for you. Now as you recite So Hum in your mind, sense that you are stepping back a step within yourself. As it remembers the sound of the mantra, So Hum, observe your mind as if from a distance. Pay attention to distracting thoughts without reacting to them. Just observe them. When you become involved in a train of thought, simply notice it and then return to the mantra So Hum. Rest in the mantra So Hum. Watch the condition of your mind. Not only your mind is quiet in spite of anything happening outside, the atmosphere appears peaceful. As our mind, so is the world. No outside sounds disturb us. Learn to become independent of all the external stimuli. in this quiet mind, bowing mentally with humility, picture the form of a beautiful scenery of nature or something that is inspiring. Invoke someone who has been a source of inspiration and admiration. If you're religious, picture the God you worship. Create an atmosphere of surrender, devotion, gratitude, love, and purity. Let your mind wander in this divine and beautiful atmosphere. As you continue, sense the cleansing process taking place in your mind. Like softening a tightly held grip, loosen the energy bound up in distracting thoughts. Relax your efforts. Rest in your focus. Experience the presence of your own being. As your focus deepens over time, sense that you are the awareness. You're not your body or your mind or those distracting thoughts. You are the witnessing consciousness. Consciousness is your nature, clear, joyful, and free. It is time to end the meditation. Deepen your breathing just a bit and gently draw your attention outward once more. Slowly open your eyes bit by bit. Gently move your body.
This workshop was narrated by Punu Narayan. Advice and assistance on neuroscience research provided by Trisha Narayan. Michael Singer, The Untethered Soul. Michael Singer, The Surrender Experiment. Richard Davidson, The Emotional Life of Your Brain. Robert Wright, Why Buddhism is True, The Science and Philosophy of Meditation and Enlightenment. For inquiries, questions, and answers, please contact Badri Narayan, Principal Consultant, Monaris Consulting LLC, Human Resource Leader on Demand at 1-917-545-4098 or email us at yoda@monaris-hr.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at YodaMonaris. Please also visit our website at monaris.hr.com and share your comments.